The slap rang out like a gunshot, slicing through the hum of the airplane cabin. 16-year-old Amara Johnson reeled back in her seat, her cheek burning as the sting of the flight attendant's hand seared into her skin. Gasps erupted from passengers, their eyes wide with shock, as Amara's phone clattered to the floor, its screen splintering. The cabin of Flight 472 from Atlanta to Seattle, once a cocoon of routine, was now a stage for outrage. Amara's heart pounded, not from pain, but from the sheer audacity of the act. She hadn't done anything wrong, just sat in 23B, earbuds in, scrolling through a playlist. Yet here she was, a black girl humiliated in front of 200 strangers by a flight attendant named Karen, whose name tag gleamed as coldly as her sneer. "You need to learn respect," Karen snapped, her voice trembling with a mix of authority and panic. Her tight bun quivered as she pointed at Amara, as if the teenager were a threat to the entire plane. Amara's hand touched her cheek, her storm-gray eyes locking onto Karen's. She refused to cry. Her mother, Captain Nia Johnson, was in the cockpit, piloting this very plane, the first black woman to command this route for Horizon Airlines. Amara had inherited her mom's fire, and she wasn't about to let this woman break her. "You had no right to touch me," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos brewing around her. Passengers stirred, their murmurs growing into a chorus of dissent. "She didn't do anything," shouted a woman in a red scarf. "That was assault," called a man with a gray beard, his phone already recording. Karen's face flushed crimson, but she doubled down, leaning closer to Amara. "You're a disruption, and I'm reporting this to the captain." Amara's stomach twisted. The captain was her mom. This wasn't just a confrontation. It was about to become a reckoning. In the cockpit, Captain Nia Johnson was a portrait of focus, her hands steady on the controls as the Boeing 787 cruised at 35,000 feet. The skies were clear, the autopilot humming, and her co-pilot, First Officer Daniel Chen, was reviewing weather reports for Seattle. Nia had fought tooth and nail to reach this seat, through microaggressions, skepticism, and the weight of being a trailblazer in a field where black women were rare. Every flight was a victory, a testament to her grit and love for the sky. The intercom crackled, shattering her calm. "Captain, this is Karen in the main cabin," came the flight attendant's voice, tight with agitation. "We have a disruptive passenger in 23B. She's refusing to comply and causing a scene. I recommend we divert." Nia's breath caught. 23B was Amara's seat, her daughter, her pride, her reason for pushing through every barrier. "Karen, specify the disruption," Nia said, her voice calm but edged with steel. "She's ignoring safety instructions and being belligerent," Karen replied. "I had to physically intervene. The situation's escalating." Nia's blood ran cold. Physically intervene? Her mind raced. But she was the captain. 200 lives depended on her composure. "Do not take further action," she ordered. "I'm sending the lead attendant to assess. Stand by." She turned to Daniel, her expression unreadable. "Take the controls. I need to handle this." Daniel's eyes widened. "You sure, Captain? We're 50 minutes out." "It's Amara," Nia said quietly. "I need to know she's safe." She stepped into the galley, where Maria, the lead flight attendant, was waiting, her face grim. "Captain." Karen slapped Amara, Maria said without preamble. It was unprovoked. Amara was just holding her phone. "Passengers are furious, and I've got witnesses ready to back her up." Nia's fists clenched, but her voice remained steady. "Get Karen to the galley. Keep Amara in her seat and make sure she's okay. I'll deal with this after we land." Maria nodded and hurried. Off. Nia returned to the cockpit, her heart a storm of fury and protectiveness. She pictured Amara's face, her daughter's spark, and vowed that Karen would face consequences. But first, she had a plane to land. In the cabin, Amara sat rigid, her cheek still throbbing. The passenger beside her, a college student named Jada with braids and a kind smile, handed her a tissue. "You okay? That was straight up wrong." Amara nodded, her throat tight. "I just want my mom." Maria approached, her voice soft but firm. "Amara, your mom knows. She's handling it. Can you stay here for now?" Amara nodded, clutching her cracked phone. Passengers around her were buzzing, some offering sympathetic glances, others filming the scene. The tension was electric, a powder keg waiting for a spark. In the galley, Karen was ranting to another attendant. "That girl was out of control. I had to do something. Maria stepped in, her tone icy. Karen, you're relieved of duties. Stay here until we land. Captain's orders. Karen's face twisted. You're siding with her? I've been with this airline for 15 years. And you just assaulted a minor, Maria shot back. Sit down. As Maria returned to the cabin, a passenger stood, holding up his phone. I got it all on video. That attendant's done. Others joined in, their voices rising. She needs to be fired. Call the police. Maria raised her hands. Please, everyone stay calm. We're addressing this. Return to your seats. Amara felt a strange mix of gratitude and vulnerability. She didn't want to be a spectacle, but the passenger's support bolstered her. She glanced at the window, the clouds glowing in the dusk, and thought of her mom in the cockpit, steady as ever. She just had to hold on. In the cockpit, Nia's focus was laser-sharp as she prepared for landing. Seattle-Tacoma International Airport loomed ahead, its runway lights cutting through the twilight. She and Daniel ran through the final checks, their movements synchronized despite the chaos behind them. Tower, this is Horizon 472 requesting priority landing, Nia said into the radio. Horizon 472, cleared for runway 16R. Situation? The controller asked. Cabin disturbance under control. We'll need ground crew and law enforcement on arrival. Copy. Ground teams ready. Nia's mind was a battlefield, her duty to the plane warring with her need to protect Amara. She pictured her daughter's face, the way she'd always looked up to her, calling her Captain Mom. No one was going to hurt her and walk away. Her voice came over the intercom, calm and commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. We're beginning our descent into Seattle. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. We apologize for any disturbances and will resolve all concerns upon landing. Thank you. In the cabin, Amara's heart lifted at her mom's voice. It was a lifeline, a reminder that she wasn't alone. She gripped her phone, the cracked screen a badge of her resilience. She wasn't broken. Not by Karen, not by anyone. The plane touched down with a whisper, Nia's skill evident in the seamless landing. As they taxied to the gate, she turned to Daniel. Handle the post-flight checks. I need to see my daughter. Go, Daniel said. I've got this. Nia stepped into the cabin, her captain's hat under her arm, her presence like a storm held in check. Passengers erupted in applause, a mix of awe for her landing and solidarity with Amara. Nia's eyes found her daughter, and she gave a small, fierce nod. I'm here. At the gate, airport police and airline officials waited. Karen was escorted off first, her face ashen as an officer cuffed her. This is a mistake, she protested, but the officers were unmoved. Nia knelt beside Amara. Baby, are you okay? Amara threw her arms around her mom, tears finally spilling. She hit me, Mom. I didn't do anything. I know, Nia said, her voice a mix of tenderness and steel. Passengers sent videos to Maria. You're safe now. An officer approached. Captain Johnson, we need statements from you and your daughter. The attendant's being charged with assault. Nia stood, her arm around Amara. We'll cooperate, but I want a full investigation into why this happened. My daughter was targeted. Understood, the officer said. We have witness accounts and video evidence. This is airtight. As they stepped off the plane, passengers cheered, some shouting, Amazing landing, Captain! And justice for Amara! Jada slipped Amara a note with her number. You're a rock star. Call me if you need to talk. Amara smiled, pocketing the note. Thanks. By morning, the story was everywhere. News channels blared headlines. Flight attendant slaps teen. Captain Motherland's plane and demands justice. Social media exploded, with buyers' Justice for Amara trending globally. The passenger videos, showing Karen's unprovoked slap and Amara's composure, made Amara a symbol of resilience. Horizon Airlines issued a statement condemning Karen's actions, announcing her termination and a review of training protocols. They offered Amara and Nia an apology, compensation, and lifetime flight privileges. But Nia wasn't done. She hired a lawyer, pushing for systemic change to address bias in the industry. Amara, meanwhile, found her voice. At a press conference, she stood tall, her cracked phone in hand. I'm not just a victim. I'm Captain Nia Johnson's daughter. She taught me to stand up, and I will, for myself and anyone else who's been wronged. Nia watched, her heart bursting with pride. Her daughter was a force, just like her. 3 months later, Amara sat in a flight simulator at Horizon's training center, her mom beside her. Nia was teaching her the basics of flying, a dream Amara had nurtured since she was little. The incident on Flight 472 hadn't dimmed her love for the skies, it had fueled it. "You're getting the hang of it," Nia said, watching Amara adjust the yoke. "Learned from the best," Amara grinned. Nia's phone buzzed with a news alert. Karen had been convicted of assault, and Horizon had rolled out new training programs, inspired by Amara's story. The industry was listening, and change was coming. Amara looked at her mom, her eyes bright. "We made a difference, didn't we?" Nia pulled her close. "Together, baby. Always." The Seattle skyline glittered through the window of the Horizon Airlines training center, but Amara Johnson's focus was on the flight simulator's controls. The hum of the virtual engines vibrated through her, a pulse that felt like freedom. At 16, she was too young to pilot a real plane, but her mother, Captain Nia Johnson, had pulled strings to get her into the simulator program. It was more than a lesson. It was a promise that the skies belonged to Amara, too. "Ease up on the yoke," Nia said, her voice calm but encouraging. "You're climbing too fast. Feel the plane. Don't force it." Amara adjusted, her hands steady, despite the butterflies in her stomach. "Like this?" "Perfect," Nia said, a proud smile breaking through her professional demeanor. "You've got your mom's instincts." Amara grinned, but her mind flickered to the incident 3 months ago on Flight 472. The slap from Karen, the flight attendant, still stung in her memory, not just for the pain, but for the humiliation. Yet it had also sparked something. A fire to rise above, to claim her place in a world that sometimes tried to push her down. The news coverage, the trending hashtag, #Justice for Amara, and the outpouring of support had transformed her from a quiet teenager into an accidental advocate. She wasn't sure she was ready for that role, but she was learning to embrace it. As the simulator landed, Nia's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, her expression shifting to one of quiet satisfaction. "The airline just settled with our lawyer. They're funding a scholarship program for underrepresented youth in aviation. Your name's on it, Amara." Amara's eyes widened. "A scholarship? For real?" "For real," Nia said, squeezing her daughter's shoulder. "You didn't just survive that day. You changed things. This is your legacy." Amara's chest tightened with a mix of pride and pressure. She wanted to make her mom proud, but the weight of being a symbol was heavy. What if I mess up? Everyone's watching. "Me now." Nia's gaze softened. "You will mess up. Everyone does. But you're strong enough to keep going. You've already proven that." Before Amara could respond, a knock came at the simulator door. Maria, the lead flight attendant from Flight 472, poked her head in. "Captain, Amara, you've got visitors. Some of the passengers from that flight are here. They want to see you." Amara's stomach flipped. "Now?" Maria smiled. "They're in the lounge. No pressure, but they're pretty excited." Nia stood, offering Amara her hand. "Let's go meet them. Together." The lounge was a bright space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the tarmac. A small group of passengers from Flight 472 waited, their faces lighting up as Nia and Amara entered. Amara recognized Jada, the college student who'd given her a tissue and her number that day. Beside her was the gray-bearded man who'd recorded the incident, now holding a bouquet of flowers. Others, a woman in a red scarf, a young couple, an older man in a suit, stood with warm smiles, their presence a reminder of the solidarity that had carried Amara through. Jada stepped forward, her braids swinging. "Amara, you're a legend. We've been following your story. You're out here changing the game." Amara blushed, unsure how to respond. "I just stood up for myself." "And that's everything," the gray-bearded man said, handing her the flowers. "I'm Tom. My video got 1 million views, but you're the one who made it matter. I'm retired now, but I'm volunteering for your scholarship program." The woman in the red scarf, who introduced herself as Lila, clasped Amara's hand. "I'm a teacher. I've been telling my students about you. You're showing them they can fight back." Amara's throat tightened. These strangers had become allies, their support a shield against the memory of Karen's slap. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft but sincere. "All of you. I didn't feel alone because of you." Nia addressed the group, her captains, authority tempered by gratitude. "You all turned a moment of injustice into a movement. Horizon's listening now, and so is the industry. We're honored to have you here. The group chatted, sharing stories of how the incident had inspired them. Jada was starting a campus group for diversity in aviation. Lila was writing a curriculum about civil rights in public spaces. Tom was fundraising for the scholarship. Amara listened, her heart swelling. She wasn't just a victim. She was part of something bigger. As the group dispersed, Jada pulled Amara aside. You ever think about speaking publicly, at schools or events? People need to hear from you. Amara hesitated. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. You don't have to be, Jada said. But when you are, I'll be in the front row. That night, Amara lay in her hotel room, the Seattle skyline glowing outside. Nia was in a meeting with airline executives, discussing the scholarship and new training protocols. Amara was proud but restless. The weight of her new role, advocate, symbol, scholarship namesake, pressed on her. What if she couldn't live up to it? What if the world expected too much? She scrolled through social media, where thus and Justice for Amara posts mingled with comments calling her brave, inspiring, a hero. But there were others, darker ones, trolls questioning her story, accusing her of exaggerating, or worse, claiming she'd deserved it. Entitled kid, one read. Playing the race card, said another. Amara's stomach churned. She knew they were wrong, but the words burrowed into her doubts. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jada. Ignore the haters. You're stronger than them. Call me if you need to vent. Amara smiled faintly, but the doubts lingered. She wasn't her mom, unflappable and commanding. She was just a teenager who'd been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or was she? A knock at the door startled her. It was Naya, her captain's jacket slung over her arm. You okay, baby? You look like you're carrying the world. Amara sighed, showing her mom the phone. People are saying awful things. What if I'm not who they think I am? Nia sat beside her, reading the comments with a frown. The world's full of noise, Amara. Some of it's ugly. But you know who you are. You're the girl who stood her ground when a grown woman tried to break her. You're the girl who inspired strangers to fight for you. And you're my daughter, which means you've got wings no one can clip. Amara leaned into her mom, drawing strength from her warmth. How do you deal with it? The hate. The pressure. I focus on the sky, Naya said. Up there, it's just you and the plane. No noise, no doubts. Find your sky, Amara. Whatever. Makes you feel free, and hold on to it. Amara nodded, her resolve hardening. Her sky was out there, waiting. She just had to find it. The next morning, Amara and Nia visited a local high school, invited to speak at an assembly about aviation and resilience. Amara had been nervous, but Jada's words echoed in her mind. People need to hear from you. She wore a Horizon Airlines pin on her jacket, a gift from her mom, and stood beside Nia on the auditorium stage. Nia spoke first, her voice commanding as she shared her journey as a black woman pilot. The sky doesn't care who you are, she said. It only asks that you show up and fly true. I'm here to tell you. You belong in any cockpit, any dream, any future you choose. The students applauded, their faces alight with awe. Then it was Amara's turn. Her heart raced, but she stepped to the mic, clutching her cracked phone like a talisman. I'm Amara, she began, her voice wavering but growing stronger. 3 months ago, I was on a flight, just a regular kid listening to music. Then, a flight attendant slapped me because she thought I didn't belong. I was scared, but I didn't back down. And neither should you. No matter what anyone says, you belong wherever you dream of going. The room erupted in cheers, students leaping to their feet. Amara's eyes stung with tears, but this time, they were tears of pride. She'd found her voice, and it was powerful. After the assembly, a shy girl with glasses approached Amara. I want to be a pilot, but my family says it's not for girls like me. What do I do? Amara smiled, echoing her mom's wisdom. Find your sky. Start small. Read about planes. Watch videos. Dream big. And don't let anyone tell you you can't fly. The girl beamed, and Amara felt a spark of purpose. This was her sky, lifting others up, just as she'd been lifted. The auditorium's cheers still echoed in Amara's mind as she and Nia drove back to their hotel in Seattle. The high school assembly had been a turning point. A moment where Amara felt her voice ripple out, touching lives she'd never imagined. The shy girl with glasses, the boys who'd asked about flight school, the teacher who'd promised to include aviation in her curriculum. They were all part of something bigger now. Amara wasn't just Captain Nia Johnson's daughter. She was becoming a force of her own. Nia glanced at her from the driver's seat, her eyes warm with pride. "You were incredible today, Amara. Those kids won't forget you." Amara fiddled with the Horizon Airlines pin on her jacket, a small smile tugging at her lips. "I was so nervous. But when I saw that girl, the one who wants to be a pilot, it felt like I was talking to myself, you know? Like I was telling her what I needed to hear." Nia nodded. "That's how you know you're doing it right. You're not just speaking, you're connecting." As they pulled into the hotel parking lot, Amara's phone buzzed with a new email. It was from Jada, the college student from Flight 472, who'd become a friend and cheerleader. The subject line read, "You're gonna want to see this." Amara opened it, her eyes widening. Jada had forwarded an invitation from a national youth conference on diversity in STEM, asking Amara to be a keynote speaker. "They saw your story online," Jada wrote. "They think you're perfect to inspire teens in aviation and beyond. Say yes." Amara's heart raced. A keynote speech? In front of thousands? The high school assembly was one thing, but this was a whole new level. "Mom, look at this," she said, passing the phone. Nia read the email, her expression a mix of excitement and caution. "This is huge, baby. But it's also a lot of pressure. What do you think?" Amara hesitated. The troll's comments still lingered in her mind. Entitled kid, playing the race card. But so did the faces of the students today, especially the girl with glasses. "I want to do it," she said finally. "But I'm scared I'll mess it up." Nia parked the car and turned to her, her voice firm. "You won't mess it up because you'll be you. Speak from your heart, like you did today, and I'll be there, every step of the way." Amara nodded, a spark of determination igniting. "I'm in." 2 months later, Amara stood backstage at the National Youth STEM Conference in Washington, D.C. The auditorium was packed with over 2,000 attendees, teens, educators, and industry leaders, their energy buzzing like a live wire. Amara wore a navy blazer with her Horizon pin, her cracked phone tucked in her pocket as a reminder of where she'd started. Nia was in the front row, her captain's hat on her lap, her presence a steady anchor. Jada, who'd flown in to support her, gave Amara a quick hug. "You've got this. Just tell your story. They're already on your side." Amara peeked through the curtain, her stomach flipping at the sea of faces. The conference had been trending online, with STEM for All amplifying stories like hers. But the weight of expectation was heavy. What if her words fell flat? What if the trolls were right? The MC's voice boomed. "Please welcome Amara Johnson, youth advocate and the inspiration behind the Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship." The crowd erupted, and Amara took a deep breath, stepping onto the stage. The spotlight was blinding, but she found her mom's eyes in the crowd, steady and proud. She gripped the mic, her voice trembling at first, but growing stronger. "My name is Amara Johnson," she began. "I'm 16, and I'm the daughter of a pilot. But 5 months ago, I was just a girl on a flight listening to music when a flight attendant slapped me for no reason. She thought I didn't belong. That moment could have broken me, but it didn't. Because of my mom. Because of strangers who stood up for me, and because I decided I wouldn't let her win." The crowd was silent, hanging on her words. Amara's fear melted away, replaced by a fire she hadn't known she carried. "That day taught me something. The sky doesn't belong to just a few. It's for all of us. Black girls, shy kids, anyone who's been told they don't fit. I'm here to tell you, you belong in the cockpit, in the lab, in every dream you chase. And if anyone tries to push you down, stand up. Speak out. Fly higher." The auditorium exploded in applause, a standing ovation that shook the room. Amara's eyes stung with tears, but she smiled, feeling lighter than ever. She'd found her sky. Backstage, Nia enveloped her in a hug. "That's my girl. You just lit up the world." Jada grinned, snapping a photo. "This is going viral. You're a superstar, Amara." The conference catapulted Amara into a new realm. Her speech was shared millions of times, earning her invitations to speak at schools, aviation events, and even a congressional hearing on airline reforms. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship funded its first cohort of students, including the girl with glasses from Seattle, who sent Amara a heartfelt letter about starting flight lessons. But fame came with shadows. The trolls grew louder, their comments venomous. She's just a kid milking a sob story. Her mom's the real hero, not her. Amara tried to ignore them, but late at night, scrolling through her phone, the words cut deep. She was inspiring others, but who was inspiring her? One evening, back in Atlanta, Amara sat on her bedroom floor, her cracked phone in hand. Nia knocked and entered, sensing her daughter's mood. "Talk to me, baby." "What's going on?" Amara sighed, showing her mom the latest comments. "They say I'm a fraud, that I'm only here because of you or because of pity. What if they're right?" Nia sat beside her, her voice gentle but fierce. "You listen to me. Those voices? They're scared of what you represent. You're not here because of me or anyone else. You're here because you chose to stand up, to speak, to fight. That's all you." Amara leaned into her mom, drawing strength. "How do you keep going when it's hard?" Nia smiled, pointing to a framed photo on Amara's desk. A shot of them in the simulator, laughing. "I look at you. You're my why. Find your why, Amara, and it'll carry you through." Amara's eyes fell on her horizon pin, glinting in the lamplight. Her why was the sky, the freedom of flight, the chance to lift others up. She nodded, her resolve hardening. "I'm not stopping." The following spring, Amara and Nia attended the first Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship ceremony at Horizon's headquarters. 20 students, ranging from teens to young adults, stood proudly in flight jackets, their dreams funded by the program Amara had inspired. The girl with glasses, now named Maya, was among them, her eyes bright as she shook Amara's hand. "You changed my life," Maya said. "I'm going to be a pilot because of you." Amara's heart swelled. "You're going to be amazing. Keep flying." Nia gave a speech, her voice resonating with authority and hope. "This scholarship isn't just about flying planes. It's about breaking barriers, about claiming your place in the sky." Amara showed us how, and these students will carry that forward. As the ceremony ended, a reporter approached Amara. "You're only 17, but you've started a movement. What's next?" Amara smiled, glancing at her mom. "I'm going to keep speaking, keep fighting, and one day I'll be in the cockpit, just like my mom. The sky's big enough for all of us." That night, Amara stood on the hotel balcony, the stars above Atlanta twinkling like a promise. The trolls, the doubts, the weight of expectation, they were still there, but they were smaller now, dwarfed by her purpose. She was Amara Johnson, daughter of a captain, voice of a generation, and a girl who'd found her sky. The Atlanta summer sun blazed overhead as Amara Johnson stepped out of the Horizon Airlines training center, her flight jacket slung over her shoulder. At 17, she was now a regular in the simulator program, logging hours under her mother's guidance and earning praise from instructors. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship was thriving, with its first cohort of students making waves in flight schools across the country. Amara's speech at the National Youth STEM Conference had cemented her as a rising star, and invitations to speak poured in from universities, community centers, and even international aviation forums. But with every step forward, new challenges loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. Today's challenge was personal. Amara had been invited to co-host a youth aviation workshop at the Atlanta Air Show, a high-profile event attended by thousands. It was a chance to inspire kids like Maya, the scholarship recipient who'd become a friend, but it also meant facing a panel of industry veterans, some of whom, Amara knew, doubted her legitimacy. Whispers had circulated online and in aviation circles. "She's too young. She's just a figurehead. Her story's a PR stunt." The trolls were one thing, but skepticism from professionals stung deeper. Nia noticed Amara's quiet mood as they drove to the air show. "You're awfully pensive, baby. What's on your mind?" Amara fiddled with her horizon pin, her voice low. "Some of the panelists, they don't think I belong there. I heard one of them, a retired pilot, say I'm capitalizing on a controversy instead of earning my place." Nia's jaw tightened, but her tone remained steady. "People like that are always loudest when they're scared of change. You've earned every bit of this, Amara. You're not just a story, you're a pilot in the making. Show them." Amara nodded, her resolve stiffening. "I will." but it's hard when it feels like I have to prove myself every single time. Nia reached over, squeezing her hand. You don't have to prove yourself to everyone, just the ones who matter. And you're already doing that. As they arrived at the air show, the roar of jets overhead set Amara's pulse racing. The field was alive with gleaming aircraft, colorful booths, and crowds buzzing with excitement. Amara spotted Maya in the distance, waving enthusiastically beside a group of scholarship students. Their presence grounded her. This wasn't about the skeptics, it was about the kids who saw themselves in her. The youth workshop was held in a massive tent, packed with hundreds of teens and their families. Amara stood at the podium alongside 3 panelists, a flight instructor named Carla, a young engineer named Raj, and the retired pilot, Captain Harold Vance, whose skeptical comments Amara had overheard. His silver hair and stern demeanor made him intimidating, but Amara refused to shrink under his gaze. Carla kicked off the panel, sharing tips on flight training, while Raj discussed aerospace innovation. Amara listened, her nerves tingling as her turn approached. When the moderator called her name, she stood, her cracked phone in her pocket like a talisman. I'm Amara Johnson, she began, her voice clear and strong. I'm 17, and I'm training to be a pilot. But I'm also here because of what happened on Flight 472, when a flight attendant slapped me for no reason. That day could have grounded me, but instead, it gave me wings. It taught me that the sky belongs to everyone, no matter your age, your background, or what anyone says about you. The crowd cheered, but Amara caught Vance's slight frown. She pressed on, sharing her journey with the scholarship and her simulator training. Aviation isn't just about flying planes. It's about breaking barriers and lifting others up. That's why I'm here, to tell you that you belong in the sky too. The applause was thunderous, but Vance leaned into his mic, his tone measured but pointed. Inspiring words, Amara, but aviation demands discipline and experience. Publicity is one thing, earning a cockpit seat is another. What's your plan to prove you're more than a story? The tent went quiet, the air thick with tension. Amara's heart pounded, but she met Vance's gaze, channeling her mom's fire. Captain Vance, I respect your experience, but I'm not here for publicity. I'm logging simulator hours, studying aerodynamics, and mentoring kids through the scholarship that bears my name. I'm young, but I'm not waiting for permission to earn my place. I'm doing it every day. The crowd erupted, some teens chanting, Amara, Amara. Carla and Raj nodded approvingly, while Vance's expression softened slightly, though he said nothing. Maya, in the front row, gave Amara a thumbs up, her grin wide. Backstage, Nia pulled Amara into a hug. You didn't just answer him, you soared. I'm so proud. Amara exhaled, her nerves settling. I was so mad, but I didn't want to. Let him win. You didn't, Nia said. You showed everyone what you're made of. After the panel, Amara joined the scholarship students at a hands-on booth, where kids could try a basic flight simulator. Maya was a natural, guiding younger teens with a confidence that reminded Amara of herself. You're killing it, Amara told her. Maya blushed. I learned from you. You make it feel possible. As they worked, Captain Vance approached, his expression unreadable. Amara braced herself, but he extended a hand. I was hard on you up there. Maybe too hard. You've got grit, Amara, and you're doing good work. Keep at it. Amara shook his hand, surprised but guarded. Thank you, sir. I plan to. Vance nodded and walked away, leaving Amara with a mix of relief and pride. She'd faced a giant and held her ground. The sky felt closer than ever. That evening, the air show culminated in a dazzling display of stunt planes and fireworks. Amara stood with Nia, Maya, and Jada, who'd driven up for the event. The jets looped and spiraled, their trails painting the sky like a canvas. Amara's heart swelled with longing. She wanted to be up there, not just watching, but flying. Jada nudged her. You're gonna be in one of those cockpits someday. I can feel it. Amara smiled, her eyes on the stars above. And I'm bringing all of us with me. The air show's success boosted Amara's confidence, but new challenges were brewing. A week later, she and Nia were back in Seattle for a meeting with Horizon executives about expanding the scholarship. The airline was supportive, but a new controversy surfaced. A rival airline's CEO had made comments dismissing Amara's story as overblown and questioning the need for diversity programs. His remarks sparked a backlash, with Harm boycott Sky West, trending alongside Justice for Amara. Amara felt the familiar sting of doubt. Why can't they just let it go? She asked Nia over dinner. Every time I think we're moving forward, someone drags it back. Nia set down her fork, her eyes fierce. Because change scares people. They want the sky to stay the same. Small. Exclusive. But you're making it bigger, Amara. That's why they're loud. Keep being louder. Amara nodded, but the weight was heavy. She was scheduled to testify at a congressional hearing on airline reforms in a month. A high-stakes moment, to address bias and safety. The SkyWest CEO's comments had raised the stakes, turning her testimony into a battleground. She wasn't just speaking for herself now. She was speaking for Maya, for the scholarship students, for every kid who dreamed of the sky. That night, Amara sat at her desk, drafting her testimony. Her cracked phone lay beside her, a reminder of the slap that started it all. She wrote about Flight 472, about the passengers who'd stood up, about the scholarship that was changing lives. But she also wrote about the doubts, the trolls, the skeptics like Vance. The sky isn't just a place, she typed. It's a promise that we all get to rise, no matter who tries to hold us down. As she saved the document, a text from Maya popped up. Just flew my first solo sim today. Wish you were here to see it. You're my hero. Amara smiled, her purpose reignited. The storm was coming, but she was ready to fly through it. The Capitol. Building loomed like a monument to history as Amara Johnson stepped out of the car, her navy blazer crisp and her Horizon Airlines pin glinting in the Washington, D.C. sunlight. At 17, she was about to testify before a congressional committee on airline reforms, a moment that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. The controversy sparked by the SkyWest CEO's dismissive comments had turned her testimony into a lightning rod, with supporters and critics watching her every move. Justice for Amara trended alongside Now on Boycott SkyWest, but so did hashtags like overblown, fueled by skeptics who saw her as a publicity stunt rather than a voice for change. Nia walked beside her, her captain's uniform impeccable, her presence a steady anchor. You've got this, baby, she said, her voice low but fierce. Speak your truth. They can't take that from you. Amara clutched her testimony notes, the pages worn from late-night revisions. What if they don't listen? What if they twist my words? Nia stopped, turning to face her. Some won't listen. That's their loss. But others will. People like Maya, like the kids in your scholarship. You're not just speaking to that committee. You're speaking to them. Amara nodded, drawing strength from her mom's words. Maya had texted her that morning. Fresh off. Her first solo simulator flight. You're gonna kill it today. I'm flying because of you. The message was a reminder of her why. The kids who saw the sky as theirs because of her fight. Inside the Capitol, the hearing room was packed with reporters, airline executives, and advocacy groups. Jada, who'd flown in to support her, sat in the gallery with a proud grin. Amara took her seat at the witness table, flanked by a labor union representative and a safety expert. Across the room, the SkyWest CEO, Richard Holt, sat stone-faced, his presence a silent challenge. The committee chair, a stern woman with silver hair, called the hearing to order. We're here to discuss airline safety, employee conduct, and equity in aviation. Ms. Amara Johnson, you may begin. Amara's heart pounded, but she stood, her voice steady. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Amara Johnson. 5 months ago, I was a passenger on Horizon Flight 472 when a flight attendant slapped me for no reason. I was 17, listening to music, doing nothing wrong. That moment wasn't just about me. It was about a system that lets bias and abuse go unchecked. She recounted the incident, the passenger's support, and the scholarship that bore her name. But she didn't stop there. This isn't just about one flight. It's about who gets to feel safe in the sky, who gets to dream of flying. Black girls like me, kids from underserved communities, people who've been told they don't belong. We're not the problem. The problem is a culture that lets someone like that flight attendant think they can act without consequences. The room was silent, her words hanging in the air. She glanced at her mom, whose nod gave her courage, and continued. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to build. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship is proof that we can change things. But we need better training, stronger oversight, and a commitment to equity. The sky is for everyone, and it's time the industry reflected that. The applause was immediate, rippling through the gallery. Jada whooped, and even some committee members nodded approvingly. But Holt's expression remained cold, and Amara knew the fight wasn't over. The questioning began, and while some lawmakers praised Amara's courage, others probed with skepticism. A congressman from Texas, known for his ties to the airline industry, leaned forward. "Ms. Johnson, your story's compelling, but isn't it possible you escalated the situation? Teenagers can be defiant. Are you sure you didn't provoke the attendant?" Amara's jaw tightened, but she kept her composure, channeling her mom's calm under pressure. "Sir, I was sitting in my seat with my phone on airplane mode. I asked why I had to put it away when the seatbelt sign wasn't on. That's not defiance. That's a question. The attendant chose to escalate by hitting me. Passenger videos confirm that." The congressman frowned but moved on. Another lawmaker, a woman from California, asked, "What specific reforms do you propose, Ms. Johnson?" Amara seized the opportunity. "Mandatory de-escalation training for all crew, with a focus on bias. Clear protocols for handling passenger disputes, with consequences for violations. And funding for programs like my scholarship, to bring diverse voices into aviation. We need pilots, engineers, and leaders who reflect the passengers they serve." Her answers were met with murmurs of approval. But Holt's turn came next. He stood, his voice smooth but cutting. "Ms. Johnson, your scholarship is admirable, but aviation is a complex industry. Overemphasizing incidents like yours risks vilifying hardworking employees. Don't you think we should focus on operational efficiency rather than, say, social agendas?" The gallery bristled, and Amara felt the sting of his words. But she met his gaze, unflinching. "Mr. Holt, when a passenger is assaulted for no reason, that's not a social agenda. It's a failure of your industry. Efficiency means nothing if people don't feel safe. My scholarship isn't just about diversity. It's about building a better, stronger aviation system. Maybe you should focus on that." The room erupted, cheers drowning out Holt's attempt to respond. Nia's eyes shone with pride, and Jada flashed a triumphant grin. Amara sat back, her heart racing but her spirit soaring. She'd faced the storm and flown through it. The hearing made headlines. Teen Advocate School's airline CEO and congressional showdown. Amara's testimony went viral, clips of her response to Holt racking up millions of views. But Justice for Amara surged again, alongside Dahmer Sky for All, a new hashtag inspired by her call for an inclusive aviation industry. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship received a flood of donations, enough to fund another cohort of students. But the victory came with backlash. Holt doubled down in interviews, claiming Amara had sensationalized her story, while trolls flooded her social media with vitriol. "She's a kid with a vendetta. Her mom's pulling the strings." Amara tried to brush it off, but the noise was relentless. One evening, as she and Naya prepared for a scholarship fundraiser, Amara broke down. "I'm tired, Mom. I want to help people, but it's like I'm fighting the same fight over and over. Why is it so hard?" Nia pulled her into a hug, her voice soft but fierce. "Because you're changing the world, and the world doesn't change easy. But look at what you've done. Maya's flying. Kids are dreaming. Airlines are listening. You're not fighting alone anymore." Amara wiped her tears, nodding. "I just want to fly, not just talk about it." Naya smiled, handing her a simulator schedule. "Then let's get you in the air. You've got a session tomorrow. Focus on your sky and let the rest fall into place." The next day, Amara was back in the simulator, the virtual skies stretching before her. She was practicing takeoffs, her hands steady on the yoke as Nia guided her. "Smooth ascent," Nia said. "You're a natural." Amara grinned, the weight of the world lifting as she flew. The simulator wasn't a real plane, but it was her sanctuary, a place where she wasn't an advocate or a symbol, just a pilot in training. She imagined herself in a cockpit years from now, her mom's captain's stripes on her shoulders, Maya as her co-pilot, a crew that reflected the world. As the session ended, a surprise visitor arrived. Carla, the flight instructor, from the airshow panel. "Heard you're killing it in here," Carla said. "I've got a proposition. We're starting an accelerated flight program for scholarship students. I want you in it. Real planes, real hours. You in?" Amara's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," Carla said. "You've got the heart and the skill. Let's get you airborne." Amara looked at Nia, who nodded with a proud smile. "Say yes, baby." "Yes!" Amara said, her voice ringing with excitement. The sky wasn't just a dream anymore. It was her future. That night, Amara stood on the training center's roof, the stars above Atlanta blazing like beacons. The trolls, the skeptics, the fights. They were still there, but they were smaller now, dwarfed by her purpose. She was Amara Johnson, daughter of a captain, voice of a movement, and soon, a pilot. The sky was hers, and she was ready to claim it. The Cessna 172's engine roared to life, a steady growl that vibrated through Amara Johnson's bones as she sat in the pilot's seat. The small plane, gleaming white under the Georgia sun, was her first taste of real flight, part of the accelerated flight program Carla had invited her to join. At 17, Amara was still a year shy of a pilot's license, but today's supervised flight was a milestone, a step toward the cockpit she'd dreamed of since she was a kid, watching her mom, Captain Nia Johnson, command the skies. Carla sat in the co-pilot's seat, her calm demeanor a contrast to Amara's buzzing nerves. "You've nailed the simulator," Carla said, adjusting her headset. "This is just like that, but with wind and gravity. Run through your pre-flight checks." Amara nodded, her hands moving with practiced precision. Fuel, instruments, controls, everything was in order. Her Horizon Airlines pin glinted on her jacket, a reminder of her journey from Flight 472's chaos to this moment. Maya, Jada, and a few scholarship students watched from the tarmac, their cheers muffled by the engine's hum. Nia stood among them, her captain's hat tilted back, her eyes shining with pride. "Ready?" Carla asked. Amara took a deep breath, her cracked phone tucked in her flight bag like a talisman. "Ready. Atlanta Tower, this is Cessna 472, requesting takeoff," Carla said into the radio, a nod to Amara's infamous flight number. "Cessna 472. Cleared for takeoff runway 27, came the reply. Amara pushed the throttle and the plane surged forward, the runway blurring beneath her. Her heart raced as the Cessna lifted, the ground falling away. The sky opened up, vast and endless, and, for the first time, Amara was flying, not just dreaming, but soaring. The weight of the trolls, the skeptics, the congressional hearing, it all vanished in the rush of freedom. "Nice climb," Carla said. "Level off at 3,000 feet. Amara adjusted the yoke, her movements smooth despite the butterflies in her stomach. The Atlanta skyline sparkled below, a patchwork of glass and green. She imagined her mom in a Boeing 787, guiding 200 passengers with the same steady hands. This was her legacy, and she was claiming it. As they circled the airfield, Carla grinned. "You're a natural, Amara. How's it feel?" "Like I'm home," Amara said, her voice soft but sure. Back on the ground, the landing was bumpy but safe, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Nia rushed forward as Amara climbed out, pulling her into a hug. "That's my pilot," she whispered. Maya ran up, her eyes wide. "You looked so cool up there. I'm next, right?" Amara laughed, high, on adrenaline. "You're next, Maya. We're all getting up there." Amara's first flight was a triumph, but the aviation world was still turbulent. The SkyWest CEO, Richard Holt, had escalated his feud, announcing a campaign to restore trust in airlines by focusing on merit over narratives. His words were a thinly veiled jab at Amara and her scholarship, sparking outrage among her supporters. Sky for All trended alongside calls for boycotts, and Horizon Airlines publicly distanced itself from Holt's views, pledging to expand Amara's program. The backlash reached a boiling point when Holt was invited to a major aviation summit in Chicago, where Amara was also speaking. The organizers, hoping to quell the controversy, proposed a joint panel. Amara, Holt, and industry leaders discussing the future of aviation. Amara was hesitant. Facing Holt again felt like stepping into a lion's den. But Nia and Jada urged her to seize the opportunity. "You've already stood up to him once," Jada said over a video call. "This is your chance to finish it. Show the world who's really shaping the sky." Nia agreed, her voice firm. "He's counting on you to back down. Don't give him that power." Amara spent days preparing, refining her message with input from Maya and the scholarship students. She wanted to focus on solutions, training, equity, opportunity, not just the fight. But she also knew Holt would come armed with slick arguments and industry clout. This wasn't just a panel, it was a battle for the soul of aviation. The summit was held in a sleek convention center, with thousands of attendees and live streams broadcasting globally. Amara arrived with Nia, Carla, and Maya, her scholarship students filling the front rows with horizon pins gleaming. The air was electric. The crowd split between supporters chanting "Sky for All" and industry insiders wary of change. The panel began with introductions. Holt's polished smile contrasting Amara's quiet intensity. The moderator, a veteran journalist, set the tone. Aviation is at a crossroads. How do we balance tradition with progress? Holt spoke first, his voice smooth. Aviation thrives on excellence, pilots, crew, and systems built on merit. We must avoid distractions like overblown incidents and focus on safety and efficiency. The jab was clear, and Amara felt the crowd's tension. When her turn came, she stood, her voice steady. I agree with Mr. Holt. Aviation needs excellence. But excellence isn't just about tradition. It's about who gets the chance to shine. 5 months ago, I was slapped on a flight for being a black girl in a seat someone thought I didn't deserve. That's not a distraction. It's a failure. My scholarship, my story, and the students I represent aren't taking away from aviation. We're making it stronger. The crowd roared, Maya and the students leading the cheers. Holt's smile faltered, but he countered. Ms. Johnson, your passion is noted, but programs like yours risk prioritizing quotas over qualifications. We can't lower standards for the sake of optics. Amara didn't flinch. My scholarship doesn't lower standards. It raises them. We're training pilots like Maya, who flew her first solo sim at 16. We're funding engineers, mechanics, leaders who bring new perspectives. If you think that's optics, you're missing the point of progress. The room erupted again, and even the moderator struggled to regain control. The other panelists, Carla and a union leader, backed Amara, citing data on how diversity improves safety and innovation. Holt's arguments grew strained, his composure cracking as the crowd's support swung to Amara. As the panel ended, a young attendee, a black teen in a flight jacket, stood. Amara, you're why I'm here. How do I get to the cockpit? Amara smiled, her heart full. Start with a dream, then find a program like mine. Study hard, fly whenever you can, and don't let anyone ground you. The sky's waiting. Holt left the stage abruptly, his silence louder than any rebuttal. Amara had won, not just the argument, but the future. The Chicago summit marked a turning point. Holt's influence waned, his campaign overshadowed by Amara's vision. SkyWest faced boycotts and internal dissent, eventually issuing a tepid apology and pledging to review its policies. Amara's scholarship secured partnerships with major airlines, expanding to international students. Maya was accepted into a prestigious flight academy, and Amara was named a youth ambassador for the International Civil Aviation Organization. But the victory wasn't without cost. Amara's schedule, speeches, flights, training, left little time for a normal teenage life. She missed hanging out with friends, scrolling through silly memes, being just Amara. One night, exhausted after a red-eye flight, she confessed to Nia. I love this, but sometimes I feel like I'm losing myself. Nia listened, her eyes soft. You're not losing yourself, you're growing. But you need balance. Let's take a weekend, just us. No speeches, no planes. What do you say? Amara grinned, the tension easing. Can we binge sci-fi movies and eat junk food? Deal, Nia laughed. The weekend was a reset, a reminder that Amara was more than a symbol. She was a daughter, a friend, a dreamer. When she returned to training, her focus was sharper, her purpose clearer. She was flying her second supervised flight, this time with Maya in the back seat, cheering her on. The Cessna soared over Georgia's rolling hills, the sky a canvas of possibility. As they landed, Amara caught Nia's eye on the tarmac. We're doing this, Mom, she said through the headset. All of us. Nia's voice crackled back, warm and proud. Always, always. The Georgia sky was a deep indigo as Amara Johnson leaned against the railing of her family's porch, the summer air thick with the hum of cicadas. It was a rare evening at home, a break from the whirlwind of speeches, flight training, and advocacy that had defined her life since the Chicago summit. At 17, Amara was a household name in aviation circles. Her Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship now funding dozens of students worldwide, and her role as a youth ambassador for the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, her as a global voice for change. But tonight, she was just Amara, a teenager savoring a moment of stillness with a glass of lemonade and her mom's laughter drifting from the kitchen. Nia had kept her promise of a weekend off, and the past 2 days had been a balm. Sci-fi movie. Marathons, pizza nights, and long talks about everything but aviation. Amara had even reconnected with old friends, laughing over group chats and planning a mall trip like any other teen. The break reminded her of who she was beneath the headlines, and it gave her the strength to face what was coming. Her first international speaking engagement at an ICAO conference in Montreal, where she'd present her vision for equitable aviation to world leaders. As Amara gazed at the stars, Nia stepped onto the porch, her captain's jacket swapped for a cozy sweater. "You're awfully quiet," she said, settling beside her. "Thinking about Montreal?" Amara nodded, twirling her horizon pin between her fingers. "It's huge, Mom. Presidents, CEOs, people who run entire countries. What if I freeze up?" Nia chuckled, nudging her shoulder. "You face down Richard Holt in front of millions. You've flown a Cessna. You're not gonna freeze. You're gonna soar." Amara smiled, but her voice was soft. "I know. It's just, I love this. Flying, speaking, helping kids like Maya. But sometimes I feel like I'm running so fast I can't catch my breath. I don't want to burn out." Nia's expression softened, and she pulled Amara into a side hug. "You're wise to see that now. Balance isn't just about taking breaks. It's about knowing what fuels you. Flying's your fuel, right?" "Yeah," Amara said, her eyes lifting to the sky. "When I'm up there, it's like nothing else matters. Just me and the plane." "Then hold on to that," Nia said. "The speeches, the conferences, they're important, but the cockpit's your home. Keep it close, and it'll keep you grounded." Amara nodded, her resolve strengthening. Montreal was a challenge, but it was also a chance to bring her scholarship's mission to the world. She was ready. The Montreal Conference Center was a gleaming maze of glass and steel, filled with delegates from over 190 countries. Amara stood backstage, her blazer pressed and her cracked phone in her pocket, a reminder of the journey that had brought her here. Nia was in the audience, alongside Carla, Maya, and Jada, who'd all flown in to support her. The scholarship students had sent a video message, their faces beaming as they wished her luck. "You're our voice," Maya had said. "Go get 'em." The ICAO president introduced Amara, her story condensed into a powerful summary. From a passenger assaulted on a flight to a global advocate, Amara Johnson is redefining aviation's future. The applause was warm, but Amara felt the weight of expectation as she stepped to the podium. "Good morning," she began, her voice steady despite the sea of faces. "I'm Amara Johnson, and I'm here because of a slap that changed my life. On Horizon Flight 472, I was a black girl in a seat someone thought I didn't deserve. But that moment didn't ground me. It gave me wings." She shared her story, the incident, the scholarship, the students like Maya who were now training to fly. But she pivoted to a broader vision. Aviation isn't just about planes. It's about people. Every passenger deserves respect. Every dreamer deserves a chance. My scholarship is proof that equity makes us stronger. Safer pilots, smarter engineers, better leaders. But we need global commitment, training to combat bias, funding for diverse talent, and policies that protect everyone in the sky. She paused, her eyes scanning the crowd. "I'm 17. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. The sky belongs to all of us. Let's build an aviation industry that reflects that truth." The room rose in a standing ovation, delegates from Africa, Asia, and Europe clapping with enthusiasm. A UN official approached her afterward, promising to back her scholarship's expansion. A Canadian airline CEO offered to partner on training programs. Even a skeptical European delegate, initially dismissive, admitted, "You've given us much to consider, Ms. Johnson." Backstage, Nia enveloped her in a hug. "You didn't just speak, you changed the conversation." Maya, bouncing with excitement, added, "You made the whole world listen. I'm so proud to know you." Jada grinned, snapping a selfie with the group. "This is going viral. Sky for All is global now." Amara laughed, the weight of the moment lifting. She'd done it, not just for herself, but for every kid who'd ever been told they didn't belong. Back in Atlanta, Amara's Montreal speech dominated headlines. Teen pilot's vision inspires global aviation reform. The scholarship received a flood of international applications, and Amara was invited to advise on a new ICAO task force for diversity and inclusion. But the spotlight brought new pressures. Reporters camped outside her school, and her social media was a battleground of praise and hate. "She's a hero," clashed with, "She's too young to lecture us." One afternoon, as Amara studied for her upcoming flight exams, she overheard classmates whispering, "She thinks she's all that now." One said, "Bet she forgets where she came from." The words stung, echoing the trolls' taunts. Amara wanted to prove them wrong, to stay connected to her roots, but the demands of her new life made it hard. She confided in Nia over dinner, her voice heavy. "I'm trying to do good, but people think I'm changing. I'm not me anymore." Nia set down her fork, her eyes gentle but firm. "You're growing, Amara. Not changing. Growth looks different to people who want you to stay small. Stay true to your why. The sky, the kids, the fight. That's you." Amara nodded, her thoughts drifting to her next flight. She was scheduled to fly a Cessna again, this time with Maya as a passenger, a symbolic passing of the torch. The thought rekindled her fire. She wasn't just a name on a scholarship. She was a pilot, a friend, a daughter. The next day, at the airfield, Amara prepped the Cessna, Maya chatting excitedly beside her. "I can't believe I'm flying with you," Maya said. "You're like my idol." Amara laughed, checking the fuel gauge. "You're gonna be better than me, Maya. I'm just getting you started." As they took off, the sky unfolded like a promise. Amara guided the plane with confidence, Maya's gasps of awe filling the headset. Below, Atlanta sparkled, a reminder of home. Above, the stars were waking, each one a dream waiting to be claimed. The flight was flawless, and as Amara landed, a small crowd gathered, Nia, Carla, Jada, and a few scholarship students all cheering. Maya hugged her tightly. "That was the best day of my life, thank you." Amara's heart swelled. This was her why, the joy of lifting others into the sky. She looked at Nia, who nodded, her eyes saying what words couldn't. "You're exactly where you're meant to be." That evening, Amara sat at her desk, drafting a blog post for the scholarship's website. "The sky isn't a destination," she wrote. "It's a beginning. Every flight, every fight, every voice matters. I'm Amara Johnson, and I'm still learning, still flying, still fighting. Join me." She posted it, then stepped onto the porch, the stars above brighter than ever. The trolls, the skeptics, the pressures, they were part of her story, but they didn't define it. She was Amara, daughter of a captain, pilot in training, and a voice that wouldn't be silenced. The sky was hers, and she was sharing it with the world. The autumn leaves painted Atlanta in hues of amber and crimson as Amara Johnson, now 18, stood on the tarmac of a small airfield, her flight logbook tucked under her arm. Today was a milestone, her final supervised flight before she could take the private pilot's license exam. The Cessna 172 gleamed under the morning sun, a familiar friend after months of training. Her instructor, Carla, stood nearby, clipboard in hand, while Nia, Maya, and Jada watched from the sidelines, their faces alight with anticipation. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship was now a global force, funding over 50 students, and Amara's advocacy had reshaped aviation's conversation. But today wasn't about speeches or headlines. It was about proving she could fly. Carla handed Amara the pre-flight checklist. "You've got this, Amara. Treat it like any other flight. Show me what you've learned." Amara nodded, her nerves tingling but her focus sharp. Her cracked phone, still a talisman, was in her flight bag, a reminder of Flight 472 and the fire it had ignited. She ran through the checks, fuel, controls, instruments, with the precision of someone who'd earned every moment in the cockpit. The sky was clear, a perfect canvas for her to paint her future. As she climbed into the pilot's seat, Maya called out, "Fly like a boss, Amara." Jada snapped a photo, and Nia gave a proud nod, her captain's hat tilted back. Amara's heart swelled. This wasn't just her moment, it was theirs, a shared victory for everyone who'd believed in her. Atlanta Tower. "This is Cessna 472, requesting takeoff," Amara said into the headset, her voice steady. "Cessna 472, cleared for takeoff, runway 27, the tower replied. The engine roared, and Amara pushed the throttle, the plane surging forward. The runway fell away, and she was airborne, the sky embracing her like an old friend. She climbed to 4,000 feet, performing maneuvers, turns, stalls, recoveries, with a confidence that surprised even her. Carla watched silently, jotting notes, but her occasional nods told Amara she was on the right track. As they circled back for landing, a sudden gust of wind rocked the plane. Amara's pulse spiked, but she remembered Nia's advice. Feel the plane, don't fight it. She adjusted the yoke, aligning with the runway, and brought the Cessna down with a gentle thud. Not perfect, but solid. Carla grinned as they taxied to a stop. That was textbook, Amara. You're ready for the exam. I'd fly with you any day. The crowd erupted in cheers as Amara climbed out, Nia pulling her into a hug. My pilot, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Maya rushed forward, her flight jacket matching Amara's. You're gonna crush that exam, then we're both getting our wings. Amara laughed, the weight of the moment sinking in. She was one step away from her license, one step closer to the cockpit she'd dreamed of since she was a kid. The success of her final supervised flight fueled Amara's momentum as she prepared for her next challenge. A keynote address at the World Aviation Forum in Dubai. The event, attended by industry giants and government officials, was a chance to solidify her scholarship's global impact and push for reforms inspired by her ICAO speech in Montreal. But it also meant facing new skeptics. International figures who saw her as a novelty, a teen activist, rather than a serious voice. Amara spent weeks crafting her speech, weaving data on diversity's benefits with stories of her scholarship students. Maya's solo flights, a Nigerian teen's engineering breakthrough, a Brazilian girl's dream of air traffic control. Each was a testament to what equity could achieve. Naya helped her rehearse, while Jada designed a sleek presentation, complete with photos of Amara's first flight. The Dubai Forum was a spectacle of innovation, with drones, eco-friendly jets, and virtual reality displays. Amara arrived with Nia and Carla, her scholarship students sending virtual support via a live stream. The auditorium was packed, the crowd a mix of curiosity and skepticism. A Middle Eastern airline executive whispered to a colleague, "She's young. Let's see if she's substance or just story." Amara took the stage, her blazer sharp and her horizon pin gleaming. "I'm Amara Johnson," she began, her voice ringing clear. "At 17, I was slapped on a flight for being a black girl, in a seat someone thought I didn't deserve. Today, at 18, I'm a pilot in training, and my scholarship is training the next generation of aviation leaders." She shared her vision. Global training standards to combat bias, scholarships for underrepresented regions, and technology to make aviation accessible. The sky isn't a luxury. It's a right. My students are proving that diversity isn't a quota. It's a strength. Let's build a sky that lifts everyone. The applause was thunderous, and even the skeptical executive nodded, impressed. A UN delegate approached afterward, offering to fund a pilot program in Africa based on Amara's model. A Dubai-based airline pledged to sponsor 10 scholarship students. Amara's vision was no longer a dream. It was a blueprint. Backstage, Nia hugged her tightly. "You're not just changing aviation, you're changing the world," Carla added. "And you're doing it with a pilot's precision. I'm proud to be your instructor." Amara smiled, but her thoughts were on the exam. Dubai was a triumph, but the cockpit was her true north. 2 months later, Amara sat in the pilot's seat of a Cessna at the Atlanta airfield, her examiner, a grizzled veteran named Captain Ellis, beside her. The private pilot's license exam was the culmination of years of dreaming and months of grueling training. Nia, Maya, Jada, and a crowd of scholarship students waited on the tarmac, their banners reading, "I, Amara, fly." The exam was intense. Navigation, emergency procedures, precision landings. Amara's hands were steady, her mind clear. When a simulated engine failure tested her, she followed protocol flawlessly, earning a grunt of approval from Ellis. The final landing was smooth, the Cessna kissing the runway like a whisper as they taxied to a stop. Ellis turned to her. "Well done, Ms. Johnson. You're a private pilot." Amara's breath caught, tears pricking her eyes. She'd done it. She was a pilot. The crowd swarmed her as she climbed out, Nia lifting her in a bear hug. "Captain Amara," she said, her voice breaking. Maya tackled her next, laughing. "We're gonna fly together soon. You're my hero." Jada snapped photos, shouting, "This is history, y'all!" That night, Amara and her family hosted a celebration at the airfield, scholarship students and supporters filling the hangar. Amara stood on a makeshift stage, her new pilot's license in hand. "This isn't just my victory," she said. "It's ours. Every student, every supporter, every person who believed in the sky. We're not done. My scholarship's growing. And so are our dreams. Let's keep flying." The crowd cheered, and Amara caught Nia's eye, her mom mouthing, "Always." The pilot's license was a beginning, not an end. Amara enrolled in an advanced flight program, aiming for her commercial license while continuing her advocacy. The scholarship expanded to 100 students, with chapters in Africa, Asia, and South America. Maya earned her private license a year later, and the two flew together, their Cessnas dancing in the sky. Amara's story inspired a documentary, Sky for All, which premiered to critical acclaim. The trolls and skeptics faded out by a global chorus of support. She balanced her life better now, carving out time for friends, family, and quiet nights under the stars. Her cracked phone, now retired, sat on her desk, a relic of the fight that had shaped her. One evening, as Amara and Nia flew a dual training mission, the Atlanta skyline glowing below, Amara spoke into the headset. "Mom, do you think I'm doing enough?" Nia's voice crackled back, warm and sure. "You're doing more than enough. You're building a sky where everyone can fly. That's your legacy." Amara smiled, banking the plane toward the stars. The sky was hers, and she was sharing it with the world. One flight, one student, one dream at a time. Amara Johnson, now 20, soared through the skies above Atlanta, the controls of a Piper Seminole humming under her hands. The multi-engine aircraft was a new beast, a stepping stone toward her commercial pilot's license. The cockpit, bathed in the golden light of dawn, felt like home, a sanctuary where dreams met reality. Beside her sat her new instructor, Captain Reza Khan, a former airline pilot whose sharp eyes missed nothing. The Amara Johnson Aviation Scholarship had grown to 150 students across 5 continents, and Amara's advocacy had sparked policy changes in 3 countries. But today, her focus was singular, mastering the complex systems of the Seminole for her commercial check ride. "Amara, simulate a single-engine failure," Reza said, his tone calm but expectant. Without hesitation, Amara followed protocol, identifying the failed engine, feathering the propeller, and adjusting power to maintain control. Her movements were fluid, honed by months of rigorous training. Reza nodded, a rare smile breaking through. "You fly like you were born for this." As they descended for a precision landing, Amara's thoughts flickered to the next challenge, a summit in Singapore, where she'd pitch a global aviation equity framework to the International Air Transport Association, IATA. Her scholarship success had caught the eye of major airlines, and they wanted her blueprint to scale. The pressure was immense, but Amara thrived on it. She wasn't just flying planes, she was piloting a movement. The landing was textbook, and Reza clapped her shoulder. "You're ready for the check ride, Amara. After that, the airlines will be knocking." On the tarmac, Maya greeted her with a high five, her own commercial training underway. "We're gonna be flying jets together soon, Captain Johnson," she teased. Nia, now a mentor to scholarship students, watched proudly, her captain's hat a constant fixture. Jada, who'd launched a media company to amplify underrepresented voices, filmed the moment for a new documentary series. That evening, Amara sat with her family in their Atlanta home, the walls adorned with photos of her flights and scholarship. Milestones. Her cracked phone, now a museum piece in a glass case, gleamed under the living room lights. Over dinner, Nia raised a glass. To Amara, pilot, leader, and the daughter who never stopped soaring. Amara smiled, but her mind was already in Singapore. The summit was a chance to cement her legacy, to ensure aviation's skies were open to all, forever. Singapore's Marina Bay shimmered under a tropical moon as Amara stepped onto the stage. At the IATA Global Summit, the audience, CEOs, regulators, and pilots from 80 countries watched intently. At 20, Amara was no longer the teen activist. She was a licensed pilot, a proven advocate, and a force reshaping aviation. Her blazer bore the Horizon pin, and her presentation, co-designed with Jada, was a masterclass in vision and data. "Good evening," Amara began, her voice carrying the weight of her journey. "5 years ago, I was a girl humiliated on a flight because of my skin. Today, I'm a pilot, and my scholarship is training 150 dreamers worldwide. But we're not here to celebrate. We're here to build. She unveiled her framework, a global coalition of airlines, governments, and schools to fund 1,000 new pilots from underrepresented communities by 2030. It included bias-free training protocols, mentorship networks, and subsidies for flight schools in developing nations. Diversity isn't charity, she said. It's innovation. My students, engineers, controllers, pilots, are proving it every day. The room was silent, then erupted in applause. A Singaporean airline CEO pledged $10 million to the coalition on the spot. A European regulator promised to adopt her training standards. Even the skeptics, who'd whispered doubts before her speech, approached her afterward, asking for collaboration. Backstage, Nia pulled her into a hug. "You just rewrote the rules of the sky, baby." Maya, who joined via livestream, texted, "You're my hero, always." Chapter 38. The Commercial Wings. 3 months later, Amara sat in the Piper Seminole at a Georgia airfield, her commercial check ride examiner, Captain Linda Torres, beside her. The exam was grueling. Complex navigation, emergency scenarios, and precision maneuvers under Torres's hawk-like scrutiny. Amara's heart raced, but her training held. When a simulated instrument failure tested her, she recalibrated using backup systems, earning a nod from Torres. The final landing was a thing of beauty, the Seminole gliding onto the runway like a bird settling on a branch. Torres turned to her, her softening. "Congratulations, Captain Johnson. You're a commercial pilot." Amara's breath hitched, joy flooding her. She'd done it. Another milestone in a journey that felt boundless. The tarmac was a sea of celebration. Nia, Maya, Jada, and dozens of scholarship students chanted her name. Banners read, "Captain Amara Soares." A new scholarship student, a 16-year-old from Kenya, handed her a drawing of a jet with Amara's name on it. "I'm going to fly because of you," the girl said, tears in her eyes. That night, the airfield hosted a global celebration, streamed to scholarship chapters worldwide. Amara took the stage, her commercial license in hand. "This license isn't just mine," she said. "It's for every kid who's been told the sky isn't theirs. We're building a world where every dream has wings." 2 years later, Amara, now 22, sat in the left seat of a Boeing 737 simulator, training for her airline transport pilot certification. Her coalition had funded 500 new pilots, and her framework was adopted by 20 countries. Maya, now a commercial pilot, flew cargo routes, while Jada's documentaries won awards. Nia, semi-retired, mentored scholarship students full-time, her pride in Amara boundless. Nia's voice was warm, unwavering. "The sky's infinite, Amara, and so are you." Amara banked the jet toward the horizon, the stars above a map of possibilities. She wasn't just a pilot or an advocate. She was a beacon, lighting the way for a world where every dreamer could fly. The end.